Right. So last time we discussed how to develop user interfaces, graphical user interfaces. So the basic idea is create a JFrame, right? So JFrame is a window. So then you can set the bounds or you can set size. If you need more control, set bounds and make it set visible. So that is how you make a window appear. Okay. So that is the starting point. Okay. So then of course you can use layouts and so on. But the better way is if you need more control, you create a class that you extend JFrame class, right? Rather than you create a JFrame object, then you create your particular object of your class. The advantage is then you can, your UI part, you can have it in that class. Okay. For example, you can have your buttons, text boxes, and so on in your class. So the other guy need to just create object of your class, which is much easier and more reusable because you can even reuse that particular class, that window in another place. Okay, right. So then we look at some layouts, right? So you can use uh, layouts like, so this is without a layout. Okay, you just add it because the default, sorry, this is grid layout, right? So let me run this. It's like a grid of things. Of course, grid layout you will not use as your main layout. Usually grid layout is set to a particular panel when there's a need, like toolbox or something. And also we look at the basic layout, the most basic layout for entire application is border layout. So that is where you have left, right, sorry, west, east, south, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then of course you can combine, for example, your north region, you can have another panel, and that panel may be having box layout and so on. So you have that uh, flexibility. Okay, right. So then we look at how to do event handling. Once you're familiar with layouts and widgets, everything is object. Even button is a J button object, J text label object, J text box object, menu item object. So built-in classes are there, right? So then we start discussing about event handling, right? So I explain you one approach of event handling. Okay. So in that approach, of course, we create a JFrame class, extending JFrame class, and also we make sure that that class implements the action listener. So that means your JFrame class is not only a JFrame class, it's action listener. So that you can register that if there's a particular action event for a particular object in your window, let the JVM or the runtime environment notify you, call your action perform method. Okay, action perform method. Of course, if you implement the action listener interface, there's only one method in action listener interface, that is action performed. You need to implement that method. Then to your widget, you must say that, say this is your my two buttons. So you must say that I am your listener. So then the JVM knows that when there's action for this particular button or whatever, this particular classes action perform method must be called. Okay, so that is one way of handling events. Okay, one way of handling events. So your class handle your own events. Okay. Another approach is, of course, this is very useful approach. The second approach is if you're not interested much about your UI, rather, so that when you click on a button or something, you are doing something else like sending an email connecting to database and doing something. You are not interested about your UI. So then rather than clutter your event handling in the same class, you can let the event handling given to another class. Okay, that is another approach. Okay, so I will explain that approach also. But there you have no, you don't have much of a control of your own other UI components. Okay, so therefore this approach is when particular button is clicked or something, you are doing something else, external thing, not related to UI. Right, so let me do that. So I'll create a simple class, say JFrame. Or I will just create a normal class. I will say event handling demo 2. Handling demo 2. Right, I will make it very simple. In the main method, I'm not going to create even my own JFrame. I'm just going to create my frame class, okay, frame object. Right. So JFrame, say JF equal new JFrame. Okay. You can set bound. Okay, let me copy it from here. Set bounds and set default close operation and the layout. The JF dot set bound, JF dot set title. Of course, title is optional. Set default close operation also, and the layout also. Okay, I will just set the border layout because it's convenient. Right. So now I will add a button. Say J button. Say B1 equal new J button. Now you must be really familiar with these concepts. Okay, I will say left or west. And I will create another button called east. I'm doing the same functionality, but this time we are going to do the event handling different way. Let's call this east. And I will add the button, say V1, sorry, JF dot add V1 to the left, that is border layout dot let's say we are adding it to the west. Okay, west. So second one we'll add it to the east, B2. Then I will set visible. This is nothing new. Nothing new. True. Right. So this will show my JFrame with two buttons in left, west and east sides. Okay. No event handling yet. Right. Two buttons. Right. So now I'm going to do the event handling. But this time what I'm going to do is event handling. I'm going to create a separate event handling class. Okay. So I'll create another class, new Java class. I will call it my action listener. So this is my own class. It will implement action listener class, action listener interface. Right, action listener interface. So if it implements action listener interface, it needs to implement the action perform method. Okay. So let me get it generated by the tool, implement the method. Okay. Yes, this method I want to implement. Right. So overriding the method. Okay. So for the time being, I'll just say out hello. Right. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that my two buttons here are handled, their events are handled by this particular class. And this particular class. So what you can do is first create an instance of this class, because you can't work with classes without creating objects unless it's a static method. Okay. So therefore, first I will create my own event listener object. Say my action listener new. Okay. So this pure object oriented. I told you doing user interface related programming is the great way of uh, becoming a object oriented software developer, because you always work with object oriented things, classes, objects, right? Inheritance, polymorphism. After some time, this will become just a normal thing if you start doing coding, serious coding. Okay. Right. So now I will say that my buttons action listener is this object. Right. So therefore I will say b1 dot add action listener. The action listener is this particular object, which is object of my action listener class. Right. And I will do the same thing for the other object button also. Then both buttons are handled by the same action listener object. Okay. Then when there's a event, the JVM will send that event to this particular object. Of course, that object has this particular method. So therefore, it will just say hello. That's it. So this is the second way. So now my JFrame class itself is not for my frame. I never created a class called my frame also. My object is not handling events. It is handled by a separate object. My UI is separated from event handling. Right, now let's run it. Demo 2, because okay, and see whether events are now sent to that particular object. Right, so this is my UI. Now when I click on the west, it says hello. So events are handled. When I click on east, it again says hello. So why? Because I have created object of my action listener class, which has implemented the action listener interface and overridden the action perform. So there, and also my two button says our action listeners, my action listener is this particular object. And button 2 also says my action listener is this. Of course, if you want, you can have for two different, these two buttons, you can even create two action listeners and let them do it. Okay, let them do it. But in this case, we just use a common thing, because at any time, you can find which button is clicked by looking at E. We discussed that last time. Okay. So how do you do that? You write something like this. I don't have a text box now. So now, if it is, say, west, I will say west is click. Else if it is east, I will say east is click. Now let's see. Let's run this. Look at the console, because I don't have a text box in my UI. Oh, why is that? Means there's a bug. Why is that? Okay. Anyone can see the issue? I use WEST, only W is capital, that is why. So WEST, something like this. EAST, something like this, because it's case sensitive. Right, now it should work. Says west is clicked. It says east is clicked. Okay, so let me make it a little bit professional. West is clicked. East is clicked. Okay, right. Right, so that is another way. So here the advantage is your event handling is in a separate class, right? Your UI and event handling is now separated. In a way, it's good, but in a way, it's bad also. That is why I'm giving you few approaches. So your task is select and use the proper approach. For some situations, approach one is good. Some other situations, approach two is good. That is this approach. So this approach is good when your UI and event handling is not much related. Not much related. So then you separate it. Okay. But in your event handling code, if you need to refer to the UI, don't use this approach because you don't have direct access to your widgets, other buttons, other text boxes, and so on. Of course, there's a way to do that, but it's more complicated. Okay. Right. Any questions? Any questions? Right. So the third approach is the most widely used approach. Okay. In third approach, it's pretty much similar to the first approach, right? Pretty much similar to first approach. That means you're interested in working with your UI in the event handling because that is most of the time that is the case. Okay. Uh, so you're interested in handling accessing your other UI widgets in your event handling code, but you don't want to implement action listener because it's too much of work for a class. So there what we do is rather than our class implement the action listener, uh, when we need to do event handling, we use anonymous class objects. That is why I told you that when you do swing programming, all your object-oriented concepts are in use. So if you are really good at your object-oriented concepts, you will be really comfortable with UI development. And this is a great opportunity to understand object-oriented concepts. And also doing UI development like Swing is great way to understand object-oriented concepts, the practical use of object-oriented concepts. Right. Right. So let's move on to the third approach. Okay. I will call this event handling demo 3. Demo 3. This is my test class actually. To this approach, I will again use my own class extend from JFrame. Okay. Right. So I will say new Java class. My frame with events 2 because we already had something like that. Okay. Okay, you can see my frame with event handling. Right. But again, we are going to do something like that. Okay, my frame with event handling, something like that. So where is my class? Let me copy paste this. So let me create the class. My frame with event handling 2. Okay, because we already have my frame with event handling. But this time because I want to speed up, I will copy paste this code. Okay. The name I will change it to event handling 2. Okay. Event handling 2. But this time I am not going to implement the action listener. That is the only difference. Okay, only difference. So therefore, you don't need this method. Okay, right. So now it's pure UI. Right? No event handling. Of course, these are not there. Right now it is pure UI. Okay, pure UI. So I have button left, button right, and text. And in the constructor, we have set the bound set the default close operator and set the layout to the body layout. And I have created two buttons, which are referred to as this. And then the text box also. Then I have added the left button, right button, and the text button. The text I have added to the south. I have not added any register any action listener. Then I have made it set visible true. Okay, so that's it. So just the UI, no event handling yet. Okay, so there are event handling demo 3. I will just create object of that PSVM equal say MFWE2 equal new. Don't worry about the long name. Just we create object. That's it. So then this will give you the UI, but no event handling, because I removed the implementation of action listener. Right? No event handling, nothing. You can see nothing happens in the console also, because no event handling code here. Just the UI is there. Okay, right. So this is this class. Now I'm going to do the event handling. That means I want to handle the two buttons events. So this is how you do it. Again, I use the method action listener. Look at what I'm doing. Okay. Now earlier, the first example, we made action listener as this class because we had implemented the action listener interface and overridden the method. But this time we have not done that. So therefore, now what we are going to do is we are going to create just like this one, my action listener. This is we created a class, right? We created this class, but this time we are going to create this kind of a class, but not create a class, create object of this kind of a class. That means we are going to create a anonymous class which implement the action listener and then create object of that. So we did that under anonymous classes, right? Anonymous classes. Like remember we discussed something like special sort of a pizza or something, pizza or popcorn. Okay, right. So that is what we are going to do because this is a one-time use. If it is one-time use, what is the purpose of creating a class? Giving it a name. Okay, giving it a name. So that is the idea. So this is how you do it. Just like same thing we did in anonymous classes, inner classes. So we'll create something like this new action listener. But remember, you can't create instance of interface. Therefore, what will happen is it will create anonymous class object, anonymous class which implement the action listener, and from that it will create object. Okay. So the code is generated by my IntelliJ because I don't need to write it. Of course, if I want, I can write it also. So this is you create a anonymous class object. You are not creating object of action listener. You are creating object of an anonymous class which has implemented the action listener interface and overridden the action perform method. And from that anonymous class, you have created object. Okay. Right. So now, and that object is this left button's action listener. Its action listener is this anonymous class object. Because this is the only place I am going to use this code. Action listening. Now if I say south, say left, okay. Now we call it 1, 2, I'll call it left and right. Now I'll say left is clicked. So similarly, for the other action listener, now I can come up with another action listener object. It's a separate one. Then I don't need to worry about whether it's left button or right button because for each button I'm going to create separate objects, anonymous class objects. Okay, which is also good. Okay, right? For the time being, only the left button is now action listening is happening. So let's see whether it's working now. Let's run it and see whether the left button actions are now handled. So this is my left button. Yes, left is click, but it is not going to respond to right because right button is not having action listener yet. But definitely left button has. Okay, but not the right button. And now let's add a right button also action listener. Now you know how to do what to do. Same thing, right? Same thing, but not this because this class has not implemented the action listener. We are going to create an anonymous class object, new action listener. This is not creating an interface object of interface. This is creating an anonymous class object which that class has implemented the action listener interface. And this is your overridden method. Right. So there I will say right is clicked. මම කියවනේ object oriented තමයි වැදගත්ම ටික හරි කියලා ඒ දවස්වල. දැන් තේරෙන්න ඕන object oriented තේරුම් නැත්නම් මෙතන හිර වෙනවා. මෙතනින් හරි ඉස්සරහට යන්න බැරි වෙනවා. කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඒක ඔයාගේ තීරණය. ඒකද කිව්ව object oriented classes වලදී seriously ඉන්න කියන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ database කරද්දිත් object oriented වෙනවා. enterprise application development කරද්දිත් object oriented වෙනවා. හරි හැමතැනම object oriented වෙනවාද? software engineering කරද්දි semester 2 වලදී එනවා. semester 3 object oriented SAD is there. So now you must be comfortable with what I am talking. If you are not comfortable, that means you are not mentally ready to do IT. Or specifically, you are not mentally ready to do software development. That means either you are not very serious or you are not very interested about these things. Maybe you are interested in something else. Interest So just whatever you are interested, follow your interest, okay? Right. So this is my second anonymous object, which is handling the right buttons action perform method. Right. So let's run it and see now whether both events are handled. Right. So this is my left button. It says left is clicked. This is my right. Right. So now the good news is now the two object buttons have two different anonymous objects, two different anonymous event handlers. Okay, two different event handlers also. So likewise, every time you need a event handler, you just create it like anonymous object because it's a one-time use. Okay. So this is the most widely used approach. That software developers, they usually go for this approach because this is a beautiful solution. Okay, beautiful solution, this elegant solution, compact solution. Okay. So the good news here is because it's an anonymous object, you create is that anonymous class is in your code itself. You have access to other UI elements as well. For example, you have access to the text field. Okay. For example, here you can see because it's inside your class. Set text. Let's say left is clicked. So similarly here we can say right is clicked. So when you stay with this class, you have access to other UI because we are doing it with some purpose. Right. Now let's see whether my text box is also working. Run. And it says left is click and the text box, I don't know whether you can see, the text box says left is click. Now the text box says right is click. My console also says right is click. That means my event handling code has access to my other UI. Okay, other UI. Right. So those are the three approaches. So most of the time, software developers use third approach, especially when they want to access their own UI components. But if your task is isolated thing, of course, you can take it to a separate action listener class. Okay. Right. Any questions? So I know that maximum you will get one question from swing, but this is super important for your career, your confidence, confidence. So confidence is something else. Confidence is not something your exam results. Confidence is not your exam results. Of course, exam results are also good, but there are plenty of students, they have good results, but very little confidence about themselves because they know that they can't develop something, they can't do something. They are only theory people. Theory people. So what the industry needs was what the world needs is practical people, skill people. Right. Right. So we are done with event handling. So now I'll just go through few because I'm not going to go through all the notes because now you should be able to read it and understand. But I'm going to show you few widgets here and there and maybe some event handling here and there. Okay. Right. So you can try out these other layouts. Right. Like box layout, horizontal box, vertical box. So event handling we have already discussed. So remember we have already only work with action listener, but there are some other listeners like text listeners, item listeners. Okay. So you can use those listeners also mostly for drop downs, radio buttons and so on. Okay. So if you are interested, how do you do it? Then what ආසාවක් තියෙනවා නම් උනන්දුවක් තියෙනවා නම් මොකද කරන්නේ? Go to chat GPT. ඒක ඉගෙන ගන්න එකකින් අපේ වගකීම් වලින් භාගයක් අපි බාර දෙනවා ටික ටික AI වලට. ලෝකෙ වෙනස් වෙනවා. හරි ලෝකෙ වෙනස් වෙනවා. software developers ලගේ වගකීම් වලින් භාගයක් දැන් AI වලට දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒ අපේ වගකීම් වලින් ටික ටික අපි AI වලට දීදී අපි ඉස්සරහට යනවා. ඒත් අපිට පුළුවන් next level දෙයක් කතා කරන්න. boring දේවල් කර කර ඉන්නේ නැතුව. So you can say simple swing example for radio button or J radio button. Maybe with event handling. Or usually you are not interested much about the event handling, right? ඉස්සෙල්ලා මම කියන්නේ Google search එකක් දාලා හොයාගන්න. දැන් කියන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් චූටි කෝඩ් එකක්. පේනවද? Anonymous විදියට තමයි මම මේක තමයි favorite විදිය. මේක තමයි software developers like favorite විදිය. Okay, let's copy it. Right. So let's say radio button example. Event handling උත් එක්කම කෝඩ් එක දීලා තියෙනවා. Imports ටික නැති හන්දේ. Imports ටිකක් දාගමු. Imports ටික උඩ තියලා තියෙනවා. copy වෙලා නැහැ. No errors, nothing, perfect. So what they have done? So create a JFrame, set visible, set default post operation, layout is not set. Okay. Then you have created the J radio button called option 1. Yeah, මේ coordinates වලින් set කරලා තියෙනවා ලස්සනට. Radio button 2 coordinates වලින් XY coordinate වලින් එතන තියලා තියෙනවා. And third radio button. Then they have created a button group. So then when you create a button group only those radio buttons are related. Otherwise when set of radio buttons are in a one group only, when one is tick, other one is untick. Because in radio buttons you can't tick more than one. So that is why you need this button group. Now to the button group we have added the 3 buttons. Okay, 3 buttons. Then for each and every button, we have added anonymous action listeners. And this is your action perform method. Then action listener. So they are using a geo option box to show a small dialog box saying you have selected option 1, option 2, and 3. One of them are geo option pane geo option pane chuti dialog box. Okay. And then you have added these J radio buttons to the J frame and ask set visible. Simple as that. Right. වැඩේ ඉගෙන ගත්තට පස්සේ අනිත් අය තවත් වැඩේ කරව ගන්න යා. ඔයා ඔයා කර කර ඉන්න. වෙන වැඩ ගත්තා හොඳයි ඔයා කර කර ඉන්න. So these are the 3 buttons. Say if I click on option 2, it says you have selected option 2 event handling. Option 3, you have selected option 3. Every again J option pane එකේ චූටි message box එක, alert box එක. Okay. Waiting code. කවුරුත් ඕනේ නැහැ නේද? වැඩේ පටන් ගන්න විතරයි කවුරු හරි ඕනේ. ඊට පස්සේ තනියෙන් ජීවිතේ පටන් ගන්න ජීවත් වෙන්න පටන් ගන්න. Right. So likewise, so you can self study now. Okay. Of course, you self study if you are interested. If you want to develop certain things. Okay. Otherwise, don't do self study like this. මේවා self study කරන්න එපා. ඉතින් වෙන මොනවද self study කරන්නේ? හරි කේක් හදන විදිය හරි. තමන්ට මොන හරි අතර ගානක් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න. වඩු කර්මාන්තය හරි ඕන දෙයක්. ඒක කිසි අවුලක් නැහැ. තමන් කාස දෙයක්. Okay. Right. So that is radio button. How to work with radio buttons and do event handling. Okay. So similarly, you can work with මේ 3 examples ම කරන්න ඕන කියලා යන්නේ යා. Work with something like right. So these are buttons handling. Right. So J buttons, J labels, J text fields, J password. It's like just like text field. Something like this. Text area if you want to add more text like commenting, right, and so on. At radio button, I already explained you with the help of ChatGPT. Similar code. Then checkbox. Only difference is checkbox. You can tick multiple checkboxes. Radio button, only one of that group. Okay. Then combo boxes. Drop down box. Okay. Combo box. අපි එක ChatGPT කියලා එකක් චූටි එකක් ලියවගමු. මොකද ChatGPT ලස්සනට සරල ඒවා කියලා තමයි කියනවා බටර් ගා චූටි එකක් ලියලා දෙන්න කියලා. Okay. චූටි සරල එකක් ලියලා දෙන්න කියලා. ස්පෙලිං වරද්දලා මේක හරියට ලියලා තියෙනවා නේද? මම ස්පෙලිං උත් වරද්දලා කියලා තියෙනවා. Simple swing example for J combo box. Event handling උත් එයා කරලා දෙයි සමහරවිට. චූටි එකක් ලියන්න වැඩි ලොකු ඒවා ලියන්න එපා. අපි මල් වගේ අහිංසක ළමයි. ඔව් චූටි එකක් ලියලා දුන්නා. ලෝකේ තියෙන පොඩිම example එකක කොහෙද? Right, combo box example. run කරන විදිහත් කියලා තියෙනවා. හරි මේක මේව කරලා මේව run කරගන්න කියලා. ඔයා Java වැඩි දන්නේ නැත්නම්. Right, so what is this functionality? So it has created a JFrame, set the size and layouts, label, saying select an item. එයා හරියට XY coordinates වලින් set කරලා දිනවා මෙතන දාලා තියෙන්නේ. And that label is added to the JFrame. Then it has created a string array. Okay, because for the J combo box you can have multiple items, right? Combo box එකේ multiple items ඉතින් දැන් Colombo candy වල වගේ. So then it has created a combo box and it has given that string array as a argument, so that your combo box will have these as your items. And again it has set in the layout XY coordinates වලින් එක තැනකට fix කරලා තියෙනවා. Then that combo box is also added. Okay, so that's it for the UI. Then there's a label saying selected none. ඒකට තමයි වාගේ දැන් text එක set කරන්නේ. And that one is also added just below that. Then the action listeners. For what? Your combo box. So that means when you select on combo box one item, this event is triggered. And what you are doing there? You just get the selected item. කොයි එකද select කරේ කියලා හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහක් තියෙනවා. Get selected item. Then remember we have a label. In the label we say which item you have selected. Because we don't have any functionality to do. Let's run it and see. Simple event handling. Right. මෙන්න මෙතන තමයි පෙන්නන්නේ යා මොකක්ද යා select කරන්නේ කියලා. Right. So we have the apple, orange, banana and grape. ඒවනේ තියෙන්නේ. Yes, apple, orange, banana and grape. And let's select banana. Let's say selected banana. ඕන මෙතන debug point එකක් දාලා බලන්න එනවද කියලා. So debug point, break point, and now of course you need to do debugging, not running. Debug. So let's select, say, orange. Now you can see I am in this point. Right? I am in this point. You can even see this object. Right? This is my combo box. This is my event. Right? This is my event. And now I will say step over. Now you can see selected item text. ඒක තමයි label එකට set කරන්න යා. That is selected item text. So selected item is orange. Selected item is orange. Okay. Now you are saying that selected your selected item. That is selected orange. කියලා වටිනවා ඊට පස්සේ. Let's say step over. Done. And now if you go to console, still it is not executed. Now console එකට නෙමෙයි අපි ලියන්නේ මොකද? Text field එකට. වෙච්ච selected orange. Okay. Right. So that is how you do event handling with combo box, J combo box. Right. So what am I doing? The radio button, buttons, combo box, check boxes. So it comes to I think one thing. Right. Am I that in it? Swing. Right. Another one, JDialog. J option pane එකනේ alert එකක් වයි චූටි යන්නේ. If you want little bit bigger dialog box, you can go for JDialog box. ඒකත් අපි මෙයාටම කියලා පොඩි එකක් ලියවගමුකෝ. මෙයා හරි හොඳයි නේ. මෙයා නම් මටත් වැඩි හොඳයි ඒක. Simple swing JDialog box. ටිකක්ද දෙන්නේ. චූටි එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. Let's say this one is simple dialog box. මෙයා නමටත් දාලා තියෙන simple dialog box කියලා. හරි. New Java class. So what do we do here? This is main class. We are creating a JFrame object. Set default, set layout, set. This time we use flow layout. And there's a J button. When you click on that, we have added that button. So there's a text saying open dialog. When you click on that button, JDialog box will be open. Okay. And for that button, we have action listener, and anonymously we have event handling port. So in the event handling, that means when you click on that button, we create a JDialog box object, right? JDialog box object. So it's another swing widget. But because this JDialog box must be within the JFrame, you can argue application එක ඇතුලේ dialog box එකේ තියෙන dialog box එක යන්න බෑ application එක එළියට. So you need to give your frame, right? You need to give your frame and of course the title and whether it's model or not. Okay, model or not. So then for that dialog box also you can set the size set the layout. එයාටත් layout එකක් එන්න තියලා එයාටත් UI දාන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. And we have added the label and button for that. And we have added those three to the dialog box. And then for the dialog box, remember we have button, right? We have button, close button. For that close button, we have added another action listener, anonymous action listener, so that we can close the dialog box. So how to close the dialog box? The dialog box object has a method called dispose. එතකොට තමයි close වෙන්නේ. right? එතකොට close කරන්න අපි තව බටන් එකක් දාලා ඒකට event handling code එක තායි ලියනවා. So event handling code එක ඇතුලේ තව event handling code එකක් ලියනවා. right? Now let's run and see. කොහොමද application develop කරන්නේ? So this is my main window. So I'm opening a dialog. දැන් මේ dialog box එක මේක ඇතුලේ තියා open කරගත්තා. So now when we, of course you can close it using this. That is by default it's work. May close the button කොහොමද වැඩ? But we have another way of closing now because we had a button, and for this button we have written another action listener, and there you call the dispose method of this dialog. So therefore that is another way of closing the button. On the button close can the option at okay. That is called what? JDialog box. Right? JDialog box. මේ dialog box එක මෙයාගෙන් එළියට යන්න නැති වෙන හදන්න පුළුවන් මට මතක නැහැ හදන විදිය. මම හිතන්නේ මේක pause කරනවා අපිට. ඔබ බලන්න. For model. model කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ focus එක දිනනකොට අරයාගේ වැඩ කරන්න බෑ. මම මේක පෙන්නන්න. Let's run it. Model කියන්නේ එක. So now when you click on this, you can't access this. You can see මට දැන් මේ dialog මේ button එක click කරන්න බෑ. That is what is my model. Because now you must only for concentrating on this. You are not supposed to click here. But if this is false, මම මේක false කරලා false and run. දැන් මට අර කොට click කරන්න පුළුවන් මේක. මේක open ලා තියෙනවා. Right. So now I can click on the තව window එකක් දාන්න. දැක්කද? ඒවට වෙන වෙන event handling තියෙනවා. So that is when I have this dialog box, now I can go and click there because it's not model now. Let's we make it again back to model. So those are standard features in any language. Any language. Now let's see. Now it's model. Now it doesn't work. එහෙ කියලා click කරන් දෙන්න. මෙයාට විතරයි දැන් focus එක දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Any questions? Of course, I'm doing whatever the things in your syllabus. Okay. Right. මේ නැත්තම් මේ exam එක අසිට කරනවා මේක. syllabus එක නැත්තම් exam එකට සති දෙක තුනක් තියෙද්දි. Yes, this is in your syllabus. But not covered much in the exams. Exam එකේ වැඩි අහන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Exam එකේ වැඩි අහන්නේ නැහැ. Exam එකේ සමහරට එක question එකක් අහනවා. Right? Right. So that's it about swing. Right? I have not covered everything, but I gave you a good overview of swing. Okay? Good overview of swing. Last class I explained you about how to create a J menu also. Adding menus, menu items, menu bars. Okay? And for that also you can do event handling because menus are just like buttons. Okay? Once you understand the concept, it's nothing. Then ඔයාලට ඕන UI එකක් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. හරි? Right. So that's it. So we'll take a break. After the break, we'll move on to past papers. Okay? Past paper එකක් කරමු අපි. Now this topic is fully done. Okay? This is fully done. Right. Question 32. Okay? 32. Consider the following three statements regarding purpose of using Java packages in Java. We have done packages. It is to organize classes and interfaces into single unit. In a way, yes, right? So package is a unit of related classes. I don't know whether unit is a good word, but in general, I will go for that. Okay. There's a question about iPad app. No, I have not developed any iPad apps. Okay, using Java. Fine. So the next question. Uh, it is to organize classes and interfaces into single unit. Yes, I'll take it as yes. I don't know whether unit is a good word, but anyway, sort of a yes. It is to provide access control for classes and interfaces. Yes, access control because you have the public, you can access from any other packages, protect default only within the package, right? Yes. It is to ensure that class and variables names are unique. It is ensure that class and variable names are unique. In a way, yes, because in different packages, you can have classes with same name, okay? But not variable names, okay? So variable name is bit of a question mark because you don't need the concept of package to make that, but definitely classes, okay, classes. So they are because of the variable name, I am reluctant to take this as answer. I don't know if the examiner take it, but this part is okay, but this part I don't agree. So I'll go for 1 and 2 only. Right? 1 and 2 only. Right? Examiner has taken all. Right? Examiner has taken all. Still, I don't know why examiner has considered variable names. Of course, the class part is correct because variable names, even different methods, you can have same variable name. Right? So different classes, you can have same variable name. So that is why I did not take 3. Anyway, it's debatable answer. Still, I feel like this variable names part should not be there. Okay. But anyway, examiner's answer is this is also correct. Okay. 33. Consider the following 3 statements regarding abstract class in Java. You can create object from abstract class, definitely no. You can create subclass from abstract class, of course. It can contain both abstract and non-abstract methods. Yes, abstract class can have abstract methods. Sorry, non-abstract methods also. But if you have at least one abstract method, you must mark it abstract class. But abstract class can have non-abstract methods. So the answer must be definitely 2 and 3. D. 34. What is the correct way to define an enumeration in Java? Enum, E is not capital. Enum is a keyword. Right? Enum days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. But only difference between A and D is this is capital, this is simple, but of course, very you can give any name you want, right? There's no, of course, the best practice is go for capital, right? But this is not error. This is not an error, right? This is not an error. As a convention, this is better, but this is also okay. Okay. So should I take D? Maybe yes, I will take D also because it's just a convention, breaking of the conventions. I'll go for A and D. Yes, A and D because it's just syntactically both are correct. Question 35 to 36 are based on the following Java program. 35, 36. What is the output of the above Java program? Okay. Main method, num1, num2, num3. Num3 is not assign a value. Num1 is 0, num2 is 10. You divide num1, that is 0 divided by 10. 0 divided by 10 is fine. 0 divided by 10 is 0. It's number divided by 0 is that giving you the exception. Right? So 0 divided by 10 is fine. So therefore num3 will be now 0 and it should print a. And remember, always it must go to the finally. So therefore first it will print a, then it will print C. Where the exception is there also it will come. Then it is this and that. Or this and then that. So therefore anyway after it will be C. And of course this is after finally. So it will execute this one also, right? ACD. I'll go for ACD. ACD. I'll go for D. 35, I'll go for D. D. Right? Because 0 divided by number is 0. It's not exception. Right? 36. What is the output of the above program when num1 is 10 and num2 is 0? Num1 is 10 and num2 is 0 means now it's an exception. Because number divided by 0 is exception in Java. In maths it is infinity because infinity cannot be represented in a program. It will give you the exception. So therefore it won't come to A, rather it will go to B exception. Then anyway it must go to the finally and then it can go to the next part. So I will say B, C and D. 36 I'll go for C. C. So those things you should aware. Number divided by 0 is exception. So you should know what is the exception also in case they ask. Okay? In case they ask. Because examiner looks like interested in these things, okay? One muka den exception ekira. New Java class, let's say test, PSVM, say int x equal, say 10 divided by 0. Of course, it's a runtime exception. So therefore, if you put it into a try catch only, you will catch it. Try catch. We'll catch the biggest guy exception because everything is exception. S out exception. Let's go to C. See where the exception is raised. Yes, exception is raised. Let's see what is this exception. Exception E dot. There's a method called get stack trace. Or there's something called print stack trace. You can have the exception again. Arithmetic exception. So the exception you get when you divide by 0 is what? Arithmetic exception. Okay? Arithmetic exception. Dekam bindu. It means still arithmetic exception. So this is preparing for the exams. Okay? Yes. Exam එකට යනකොට පරදින්න යන්න බෑ. Exam එකට මොන මගුලකට ගියත් පරදින්න යන්න බෑ. වලියකට ගියත් ගහලා ඉන්න ඕන, ගුටි කාලා ඉන්න බෑ. හරි? ලැජ්ජ නැති වැඩක්ද පරදින එක, ෆේල් වෙන එක. ඒකන්ද වෙන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්, අහන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්, පේපර් එකේ එන්න පුළුවන් questions ඒ ඔක්කොම බලලා තමයි යන්නේ. මොකද ආයි යන්න බලාගෙන යන්නේ දෙපාරක් යන්න එක විභාගෙට. ඒක මහා හිඟන වැඩක්. Right. Next question. 37. Consider the following piece of code written in Java. If the output of this program is 3AB, what would be the valid argument passed to the program? Okay. Remember when you send arguments, those are in this particular array. First argument is arg0, next argument is arg1. Say you run this class, say this, assume this class is foo, then you say Java after compiling foo, then you say hi, then your arg0 is hi, then space by, then arg1 is by. Of course, here we are using only arg1. Yeah, arg1 is also used. So this is 0 first argument, this is the second argument. Okay. If the output of the program is 3AB, that means X is 3, this is A, this is B. What would be the valid argument passed to the program? Then the valid argument passed will be first 3, you convert it to integer and put it there. Second argument must be, second argument means the arg1. Anything, so then of course A, then other argument, its second character must be B. Second character, because this is star at 1, not star at 0. So the first one must be 3. The second argument, second character must be B. Second character must, sorry, 0th character, first character must be B. Then maybe something else, we don't care. So anything like this. And this is the space because first argument, second argument. Second argument, second character must be B. Okay. So second argument means first argument means 0th one, right? Because 0 base. So anything like this is correct. No, this is not going to work because then A is 33. This is fine because this is B, this is 3. And this is not going to work. This is fine. This is 3, this is B. This is not going to work because this is charts. 1 is A. So I'll go for D and E. D and E. Okay. Yes, D and E. Okay. How can we assign an irrational number to a variable? That I have not tried out. So you can ask from maybe ChatGPT. I have not done that. Okay. I have not done that in Java programs. Okay. So therefore I have no idea. It should be possible. I don't think it is possible also. But anyway, it's an interesting question. But I think irrational numbers, I think in the computer, it is approximated to a rational number. Right? Approximate to a rational number. Like root 2 is approximated to something like 2 point something. Okay. I don't think that is possible in Java program. Maybe some math packages, it is possible. Okay. So let's ask from ChatGPT because I have never done that anyway. But anyway, it's an interesting question. How to represent or how to assign an irrational number. Let's say number like root 2 in a Java program. So there should be a way to do that in packages like mathlib. Okay. You can assign iteration number such as root 2 using math square root. Yes, square root is there, but I don't know whether it's considered as irrational number. Yeah, I don't think that it is kept as irrational number. That is my problem. Okay. Yeah, I think still it is kept as a rational number, approximate number. Okay, of course, you can use the SQRT function, but then it will be approximate to nearest rational number. Okay, possibly. I'm not very sure about the second question. What do you mean by Cartesian grid values? Okay. From where do you get something called Cartesian grid values? I can't remember. What do you mean by Cartesian grid values? Is there a package for Cartesian grid? I don't know. I'm not very sure about your question. Okay. The second question. Right. So let's move on to the next question. So here answer should be D and E. D and E. Okay, 37. At 38, consider the following piece of code written in Java. Arc. So then it has arc 1 and arc 2. It's not arc 0. So therefore, this will be, we pass this as the argument. So zeroth argument is this. This is first, this is second. So the output will be 2 plus 3. By definition, remember it is considered as string, right? It's considered as string. So therefore, I hope it will be print as concatenation because it's taken it as two string, three string, and one string. So then this is concatenation. So therefore, I assume the output is not 2 plus 3 are the 2 concatenate 3. So I'll go for 2, 3. Other possibilities, of course, 5, but I don't think it is 5 because it's a string. Okay. If you want to make it something like 5, you need to convert your string into integer. Then you add it. Okay. So therefore, output should be 2, 3. Concatenation of second argument and that is 0, first argument and second argument. Okay. I'll go for D. 39. So thread we have not done yet. Okay. JDBC we have not done yet, but this following API established, yeah, JDBC we have not done yet. So I told you we have not done JDBC, we have not done thread. So that is just one question from each. Remaining ගොඩකට එක question එක අහන්න, yeah. And that's it. Swing වලින් අහලම නැහැ. Swing වලින් අහලම නැහැ. Okay, right, that's it. So I don't know if there's something called Cartesian line in Java. I have not used something like Cartesian line in Java. Okay. So I'm not very sure about what you're talking. Of course, I know Cartesian line is a concept in maths, but my question is, I have not seen a concept called Cartesian line in Java. Okay. Right. So that's it about 2022. I think 2022 paper we did fully other than the last two questions. Okay. Other than the last two questions. Right. So shall we do the 2021? And maybe 2021 paper also, because we want to do past papers as much as possible. Two 2021. Okay. So we want to do at least 3 papers. Okay. So this will be the last paper. 23, 22, 21. Yes. 2021. Open with Adobe. Right. So this is 2022. I need 2021. So this is 2021. මෙන්න මේ question එක තමයි මම කාලා කණි question එක. ඔක් කරන්න ගියාම ඔළුව කැක්කම එදෙනවා. මම දැන් මොකද දානවා කියලා මම හිතන්නේ දැන් දාන එකක් නෑ කියලා ඒ question එක. හරි. Java is strongly typed language. It checks the data type mainly at code editing time, compiler time, debug time, code writing time, file saving time. This is a very unfair question actually, right? Because the answer depends on whether you are using Notepad and command line or IDE. So therefore, this is a very unfair question as the first question. Examiner should have given full marks for all the students, but I don't think examiner has done that. Because if it is Notepad and command line, your data type is checked at the compiler time, because until that time, the Java has no idea about what you are doing, right? So therefore, compiler time, if you are using Notepad and command line to compile and run. But if you use IDE like IntelliJ, Eclipse, it can check your data type. That means the moment you type int x equal 12.5, it gives you the error. It gives you the error because it's basically to check it. But that is done by your tool, not by Java. Okay. So anyway, I think the examiner has taken code editing time, code writing time, debugging time, right? All these things. I can't remember because all these times your IDE can check it, but officially it's only compiler time that your Java compiler check it. I don't know. My answer is B, but I think the examiner has taken some other answers. I'm not very sure. I will only say B. Okay. Ah, no, examiner has taken only B. Good. I thought examiner has taken other things. Okay. No. So that is good. Okay. So because if you use command line and notepad, it is a compiler time that it checks. But of course, if you go for IntelliJ and so on, the moment you type it, it will say your value is wrong. Okay. By the way, this is good answer anyway. I thought examiner has taken other things because you must stick with the Java other, rather than other tools. Okay. So the answer is B, correct. Second one. Consider the following program written in Java. Which in the above is an identifier? Of course, that is super easy question. Identifiers are class names, variables names, method names, enum names, interface names. Right? Those are identifiers. Right. So first program is identifier. Public is not main is also identifier because it's a method name. Yeah, yes, it's a special method, but it's a method name. Args, yes, parameter names are also identifiers. Remember, parameter names are also identifiers. Variable names, parameter names, method names, class names. If you give it a name and you can give it whatever you like, it's identifier. Args is identifier. String is not identifier, it's a class name. But in a way, it's also identifier because it's a class name, right? Class names are also identifiers, but it's a Java built-in class name, right? Anyway, we can take that also because it's a class name. First program is definitely identifier. So I don't know whether examiner take this. Still, it's identifier because it's identifier used by the Java people, right? I'll go for everything other than A, right? Everything other than A. Examiner has not taken D. That is unfair because string is a class name. So class names are identifiers. Of course, we don't have control for that, but anyway, it is identifier. Okay, it is identifier. It's a debatable answer. Still, I feel like if it is a class name, it should be identifier. Okay, right. Anyway, examiner has not taken D. Okay. Third one. Which of the following is are valid keywords for declaring symbols of a character set, such as letters and numbers? Letters and numbers. Which of the following is are valid keywords for declaring symbols of character set, such as letters and numbers? String is not a keyword. That is the first thing. Of course, you can use string, but string is not a keyword. And string is a class name. So therefore, I don't know whether examiner will go for string. If examiner go for string, definitely this wording is wrong because string is not a keyword. Okay. Long is not going to work. Scanner, no. Double, no. Maybe cha. Of course, cha is a data type and therefore it's a keyword. You can use to represent one character. One character. That character can be a letter, number, special character, or non-printable character, whatever. I'll go for E. And I'm really upset if examiner take A because string is not a keyword. String is identifier. I'll go for E. Yes, only is taken. So that is fair, right? Because keywords, data types are keywords. Fourth one, which of the following needs are valid options which illustrate the dynamic initialization of variables in the Java programming language? Dynamic initialization means after doing some processing at runtime only the value is assigned. So if you assign something like this int x equal 5, that is static. At the compiler time also, program knows what is this value. But something like this is dynamic initialization. It depends on your values for A, B, and D, which you must have already declared and initialized. This is not dynamic initialization. This is dynamic initialization. This is not dynamic initialization. Hard coded. Okay, so I'll go for B and D. B and D. Yes, B and D. Fifth one. Which of the following these are the valid expressions in Java programming language? So this is a octal value. Octal values can be assigned, right? For int, you can't assign string value. It's a compiler. This is 1000. Of course, 1000 is a valid value for int. And this is a hexadecimal number. Of course, hexadecimal numbers can be assigned to int. This is binary number. Is it 0b? Yeah, 0b is binary. And those are all valid binary numbers. I'll go for everything other than B. Everything other than B. Yes, everything other than B. Okay. String is not a data type. String is a class in Java. Okay. 6. Which of the following is a valid literals in Java programming language? String is in a way data type, but string is not a primitive data type. Right? String is something like integer, right? Wrapper types and so on. Okay, string builder, string buffer, those are classes that you can use it as a data type. Okay. When you create a new class also, if you are creating basically a new data type also, like account, student. Okay. Which of the following these are valid literals in Java programming language? So this is CH1. To that you have assigned octal number. The octal number has a valid decimal number. So therefore I say yes. So this is definitely correct because it's a single character. This is wrong. This is a binary number. So binary number has a valid decimal value. This is Unicode. Right, Unicode. That is fine, right? Unicode can be assigned to char. I'll go for everything other than E. Yes, everything other than E. Consider the following program written in Java. බලන්න මේ කෝඩ් එකේ දීලා තියෙන කැත විතරක්. ඒ කියන්නේ එක්සැමිනර් වලට නිකන් වද දෙනවා. ඇයි මන් දන්නේ ඇයි කාට හරි වද දෙන්නේ නේද අපිට තව කාට හරි වද දෙන්න උවමනා නැහැ නේ. ඒක ලස්සනට ලියලා දුන්නා නම් එන ගානක්. දැන් මෙයා මේ එක්සැමිනර් තේ එකක් හදලා දුන්නමත් නේද? නැත්නම් කෑම එකක් හැදුවම බත් එහාට බෙදලා මෙහාට බෙදලා තමයි දෙනවා ඇත්තේ. ඉඳා කාපිය කියලා. මේ දිය තියෙන විදිහ පේනවා නිකන් අර අපි කියන අර එපා වාහෙට පොදි බෙදනවා කියන. මම දන්නේ ඇයි එහෙම කෝඩ් එකක් දෙන්න හිතෙන්නේ කියලා. ප්‍රෝ කියන්නේ එක්සෑම් එකට එන අය හතුරු පිළිතන් ඉන්නවද දන්නේ නැහැ නේ. මුන්ට සලකන්න ඕනේ මේව තමයි කිය. right එනි අපි මේක ලස්සන ලියාගමු මේක මෙහෙම දැක්කම Java එපා වෙනවනේ. So string this curly bracket another curly bracket that is anyway unnecessary curly bracket but it doesn't make any wrong things. So then another set of curly brackets. Anyway, this curly bracket doesn't make any sense, but you can just ignore it. Then end of the method, end of the class. Okay. Which of the following these are the output of the program? The output will be, it will print it because this curly bracket has no meaning, but it doesn't give you any errors also. Okay. You can add ඕන තරම් curly bracket pairs දාන්න පුළුවන් ඕන නැනක. අපි හරියට ගණන් කරලා දාන්න open කරපුවා වහන්න ඕන. ඔය නිකන් කම්මැලි කමට හිතුනොත් වෙන කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ කියලා curly bracket එකක් දාලා යන්න. හරි වෙන කරන්නම දෙයක් නැතන් ජීවිතේ. Right. So output will be 10. Okay. So value is 10. Print ln 10. So therefore output will be 10. 7 I'll go for A. Oh, E. Oh, the even. Anyone has an idea why you are getting E? Ah, yes. What is the reason? Because this variable is its scope is inside this curly bracket. So I forget about that. This variable is valid only within this pair. Okay. So therefore, you can't refer to this variable outside this scope. So that is why you get error. Okay. It's a crazy code. You can software developer in a code and anyway. Sorry. නිකන් ආතල් එකට ලියලා තියෙන code එකක් paper එකට question එකක් හදන්නවා. හරි. Right. Anyway, scope is now over. So therefore, you can't refer to it outside this. Okay. So therefore, it should be error. Yes, it should be error. Compile error. Okay. Right. Eighth question. So usually we don't write this kind of crazy question, crazy code, right? Because we have more work than practical problems only. 8. Which of the following needs are the best practices in modularization? Right? Make it into modules. Each module can be assigned to perform just one function. Yes, that is ideally one module doing one thing. Modules used in one program can also be used in another program. Yes, modules can be reused. Modules should help to avoid the repetition of writing out same segments of code more than once. Yes, because modules you can keep calling. Modules can be designed in such a way that they are not self-contained. No, it must be self-contained. So that is called cohesion. Right? Of course, you can write like this, but that is bad designing. Right? Bad designing. Modules can be designed in such a way that they have little or no effect on the other modules within the program. So that is good. So that is cohesion. And low coupling. Low coupling means your module has little dependency with other modules. So I'll go for everything other than D. Everything other than D. Okay. 9. So you have created two-dimensional array. This is a two-dimensional array. It has 4 rows. 0, 1, 2, 3. And 0th one has only one element. The first row has 2 elements. Second row has 3 elements. And third row has 4 elements. 0th row, first row, second row, third row has 4 elements. It's a sort of a skew array, 2D array. Then what we do? Question equivalent. Which of the following is a valid number of rows available in the array? Number of rows is 4. Right? Number of rows is 4. 9 answer is D. D. 10. Which of the following is a number of columns available in the second row of the array? Now, second row if you go by 0, 1, 2 terminology, this is my second row. But if you go by the common people's terminology, this is first row, second row, third row, fourth row. Then මම දන්නේ මොන terminology එකද examine ගන්න කියලා. examine දැන ගන්න ඕන මේ වගේ ambiguous ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න නැතුව ඉන්න. හරි? මොකද සමහරවිට අපිත් මේකට කියන්නේ first row එක කියලා. නමුත් programmer කෙනෙක් විදිහට කියනවා නම් 0th row, first row, second row. Right? I will go by the programmer's terminology. Then එහෙම ගියොත් එහෙම මේක එක්සැමින් කොයි විදිහට ගන්නවද කියලා මම දන්නේ නැහැ. මේක ලකුණු හම්බුනේ නැහැ කියලා කොහෙත්ම මට මං ගැන කිසිම දුකක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මට පොඩි තරහක් ඇති වෙන එක්සැමින් ගැන විතරයි. හරි එක්සැමින් මොකද්ද මේ ambiguous ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නේ කියලා. හරි. Which of the following is the number of columns available in second row? දැන් මම second row කියලා ගන්නේ programmer කියන විදිහට එහෙනම් 0 first 2 second කියලා. So then the number of columns is 3. But I don't know. Examiner might say it's 2. Okay. For me, answer is 3. Because I just go by 0th row, first row, second row. Okay. I'll go for C. Examiner අන්තිම සාමාන්‍ය භාෂාවෙන්. ඒකෙදි මට කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඒක මගේ වැරද්දක් නෙමෙයි. exam එක අරන් තියෙන්නේ මේක first row, second row, third row. මේක first row, second row, third row කම මල ඇණයක් ගන්න programmers ලාවට කියන්නේ zeroth row, first row, second row කියලා. නැත්නම් මේක මල වදයක් නේද? first row එක කියන්නේ zero එක, second row එක කියන්නේ වැඩි ලස්සනයි කොට කියනවා. zeroth row, first row, second row කියලා. ඒකදී exam එකේ ලකුණු ටික තියාගන්න කියමු අපි. Next question. Which of the following these are generic names that can be given to an array? Okay. ඒක තරකට සම්බන්ධද? 9 to 12 yes. 9 to 12 ඔක්කොම අරකට සම්බන්ධයි. Which of the following these are generic names that can be given to the array? Single dimension array. It's not a single dimension array. Okay. It's a two-dimensional array. Array of arrays with 5 rows. Yes, it's array of array. Do we have 5 rows? Yes, 5 rows. Then, nah, four rows. Right? It has only 4 rows. You can see size 4. So it is not 5 rows. So therefore, I will say no. Array of 3 rows. No, it has only 4 rows. ගණන් කරද්දී අපිට 1 2 3 කියලා ගණන් කරන්නේ. 4යිනේ. ඉන්ඩෙක්ස් එක කියත් තමයි කරනවා 0th row එක first row එක කියලා. මොකද exam එකේ අරන් දෙන්නේ first row, second row, third row, fourth row කියලා. හරි. It's not 3 rows, it's 4 rows. Racked array. මේවට කියන අනිත් නම තමයි මොකද්ද? skew array නැත්නම් racked array. මේ වගේ. ඒ කියන්නේ it's not rectangle or square. Then we call it racked array or skew array. So therefore yes, it's a racked array. Array of arrays of 2 rows, no. Okay. So I'll go for D. Okay, D. D. Which of the following is the output of the program? දැන් බලන්න fill කරලා ඇති. I equals 0. Then I will go for 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, that is row. J equals 0. J is less than I. Now remember, I is now 0. J is now 0. Of course, the condition is I plus 1. J must be less than 1. Of course, 0 is less than 1. So therefore, ij, that is 0, 0 is k. 0, 0 is k. The k is now 0. K tam 0. So therefore, 0, 0 will be 0. Then k is incremented by 1. Now k is 1. Or line of I think. Now again, you are coming here. Now j is incremented. J is now 1. Is 1 less than 1? No. 1 less than 1. I mean. So you get out of the for loop. Now your I is 2. Sorry, I is 1. Then again j is 0. Okay. J must be less than I plus 1. I is 1. That means it must be less than 2. Then your ij, that is I is 1. 1, 0 is your k. K is 1. Okay, so then it will be incremented by 1. K will be 2. Then j is incremented by 1. 1. Then ij, that is 1, 1. It will be 2. මට පේන විදිහට මෙයා කරන්නේ 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 කියලා දාන්න හදන. කියලා මට හිතෙන්නේ මට වෙලා යන අන්දම ප්‍රේම් ෆිල් කරලා. Okay? මම හිතන්නේ ඒක තමයි කරන්න හදන එක ලොජික් එක බැලුවම. Right. Which of the following these are the output of the program? So then we print it. Same logic, right? We print it. But when you go out of the for loop, you print another line. So that means it's going to print like this. Maybe they'll print when not. Right? Maybe they'll print when not space okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. So I'll go for E. Oh, A. මොකද ඒ වුනේ කොහොමද ඒක 0 කියලා print වෙන්නේ? Anyone has an idea why A? Is it really A? Well, oh. Anyone has an idea why it is 0? So at the end, you are again printing, right? First one will be 0, 0. Then 1, 0. Then 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. And this is my AR array. I don't know why the examiner says it is 0. Anyone has an idea? Run කළ බලමු දෙන්න. මට නම් මේක තාම පේන්නේ මේක output එක කියලා. හරි. Let's see. Maybe I'm blind to something. Zero ආය කොහොමද කියලා මට නම් තාම අවුන්නේ නැහැ zero එන්නේ කියලා. So let's make it non-public class. No errors. Let's run it. Do then. කොහොමද බිඳුව ආවේ? Anyone has an idea why you are getting 0? This curly bracket. අප්පා මේ curly bracket එක close කරලා නැහැ. දැක්කේ නැහැ. වෙනවද? මේ curly bracket එක නෑ මෙතන curly bracket එකක් නැහැ නේද? So there's no curly bracket because it's only one statement. So that is fine. That is fine. You don't need a curly bracket because it's one statement. That is strange, right? මෙතෙන්ට ඇවිල්ලා බලමු array එකේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. ARIJ එකේ AR එකේ array එකේ තියෙනවා දැන් අර data ටික. Right, AR. Right, data is there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Data ටික නම් තියෙනවා හරියටම. දැන් මොකද print කරත් තමයි නම් ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. I is 0, I is less than 1 කියලා අරන් තියෙන්නේ hard code කරලා මේ මනුස්සයා. මෙතන hard code කරේ නෑනේ. මෙතන 4 කියන ගත්තේ. දැන් මෙතන hard code කරලා 1 කියලා. ඒක දැක්කේ දැන්නේ. ඒක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ මුනේ. Okay. So because this is hard coded as 1, I thought that is not the case. මම ඉතින් උඩ loop එකම යටට දුවන්නේ කියලා. Right, now we are in trouble, right? That is the reason why you are getting 0. Code දෙකේ තියෙන දෙකක්. මම ඉතින් code දෙකේම තියෙන එකම කියනවා. So here it says I is less than 4, but here it says I is less than 1. Okay, so therefore initially I is 0, J is 0. So therefore I is less than 1. Yes, 0 is less than 1, correct. J is less than I plus 1. I plus 1 means 0 plus 1 is 1. Right? So 0 is less than 1, correct. Therefore you come here, you will print the 0, 0 element, right? Because I is 0, J is 0. 0, 0 element is anyway 0. That is why you get the output as 0. And now, and there's a println also. Now you are going back to here, J is incremented by 1. Now J is 1, right? Now J is 1. 1 is less than I plus 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. No, 1 is not less than 1. So therefore that's the end of that loop. Now we are going to the outer for loop. Now I is 1. And 1 is not less than 1. 1 is not less than 1. So therefore you get out of the loop. මෙතන 1 පිවිච්චන් තමයි වැඩේ උනේ. සමහරට එක්සැම් එකට අමතක වෙලා 1 කියලා දැම්මත් දන්නේ නැහැ. හිතලම දැම්මත් දන්නේ නැහැ. හරි? ඔතන 3 කියලා දැම්මම නැත්තම් 4 කියලා දැම්මම මේක මෙහෙම print වෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒ print එකෙන් දාපු තැන වැරදි. හරි? මම 4 කියලා දාගලා ඇති කියලා හිතාගෙන තමයි මම ඇත්තටම උත්තරේ දුන්නේ. ඒකයි උනේ. දැන් අර විදිහට print වෙනවා. මම උත්තරේ දුන්නේ මෙතන තියෙන 4 කියලා හිතාගෙන නමුත් එක්සැම් එක හිතලම දාලා තියෙන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ 1 කියලා. ඒක වැරදිලා දාලා 1 කියලා පස්සේ ඒකට හරියන උත්තරය හදුවක් දන්නේ නැහැ. right. right. මොකද මෙතන 4 තියවිච්චාම මම හිතුවේ මෙතන තියෙන්නේ 4 කියලා. නමුත් එක්සැම් එකේ හිතලම මම දන්නේ 1 කියලා දාලා. හරි. So that is the answer is 0. Okay. Anyway, it's very unfair කියන්න බෑ ඉතින් නේද? අපි දැනගන්න බෑ බලන්න. right. Next question. Consider the following diagram to answer question 13 to 19. It's an employee class with 3 variables. This should be instance variables. Which of the following is are valid names which are suitable for class similar to employee class in illustration? Aushadha is not a class. Aushadha must be a then object. Okay. Car, yes. Car. Basically, the question is what are possible out of these? What are the possibilities for classes? Car is a possibility for class. Wagoner is object or subclass. Maybe wagoner is also correct, but then it's a special type of a car. Special type of a car ඕන්නම් ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Wagoner as a class. I'll take it. I don't know if the examiner will take it because maybe I can have car like this, then special case of car called wagoner. Shape is a class. Manager is a class. Okay. But manager is a should be a special case of employee. දැන් මේ සිමිලර් කියන වචනේ මොන අදහසින් කිව්වද කියලා මම දන්නේ නැහැ. If the examiner is thinking about top level class, then wagoner and manager are wrong. But examiner is only concerned about whether it's a possible class or not, then wagoner manager are also answers. So there are 2 possibilities. One possibility is only B and D. That is, you are thinking about the top level classes only. But if you just look at it as a class, B, D, C, E, all 4 are correct. I don't know what the examiner thinks, but I will go for, examiner might go for only B, D, but I will go for B, C, D, E. B, C, D, E. Right. So the funny thing is, examiner has not taken C. Right. Of course, examiner has considered all possibilities for cars like car, shape, manager. Then අහන්න ඕනේ එහෙනම් කොහොමද wagoner ගොකට අවුල් නැති කියලා. Because wagoner is a special type of car, like a manager. Right. So that is, I don't agree with the examiner why examiner has not taken C and taken manager. Okay. So anyone has any other idea? Or you don't agree with me, or you think that examiner is correct? So you can have your opinion. Okay. For me, wagoner is a special case of a car. And from wagoner class, we should be able to create wagoner objects. Okay. From which class create which objects? Right. 14. Which of the following is are valid options which are logical to use the word extend with employee class? Which of the following is are valid options which are logical to use the word extend, that means subclass, with employee class, that means subclass of employee class. Okay. Right. SWIND Nimalka should be an object. You can't extend employee and create a car. Manager, yes. Manager is a special case of employee. Clerk is a special case of employee. Security, maybe. Security guard, special case of employee. I'll go for B, D, and E. Yes, B, D, and E. Okay. 15. Consider the following segment of code written in Java based on the above diagram, noting blank 1, blank 2 by considering instance variables declarations. Okay. Where is blank 1 and blank 2? Considering instance variable declarations. Instance variable up to me hadanne. Then it's something like private int age or something like that. Okay. Because it's the instance variable, blank 1 can't be static. Static means class variable. A blank 1 can be private. Blank 1, I don't think that string is a good candidate for age, and also your blank 1 must be a not data type. It must be something like private protected public. Okay. I say no. Blank 1 int yes. Blank 2 int yes. It's something like private int age. Age can't be Boolean, right? It doesn't make sense. I'll go for B and D. B and D. Yes, B and D. Which of the following is are valid options which is are used which is in the same category as private in Java programming language? That means access modifiers. So there's public keys there, main no, protected yes, default. There's nothing called default in keywords. Therefore, I will not take it. I don't know if the examiner take it, but if I examiner take it, I'll be really uh, angry with the examiner. Okay, static no. I'll go for A and C. Only A and C. Okay. 17. Consider the following segment of Java code, noting blank indicated by blank 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Public static void, something like that. Sorry. Maybe no, maybe this is the method name. This is a return type. Maybe this is a access modify access. Maybe this dot name is name. Okay. If it is an instance method. Right. Blank 1 can't be default. There's nothing called default anyway. So blank 1 can be multiple answers are possible, right? Blank 1 can be private. Okay. Blank 1 can be static. Yeah, static void something. Yes, static is possible. Public is possible. Okay, අපි හොඳ වැඩේ මේ තියෙන විදිහට බලමු. නැත්නම් ඔක් කරන්න බෑ. 1 2 3 4. Right? 1 2 3 4 means එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙලා යනවා. 1 2 3 4 means default කොහොමද වෙන්න බෑනේ. So we'll not take that. 2 4 4 3. 2 4 4 3. 2 4 4 3. Private void main. Of course, you can give any name. Then this should be this dot main. This dot name is name. That is possible, right? I'll go for that. It looks crazy, but theoretically possible. Then 4 4 1 3. 4 4 1 3. Public void set name this. I think that is better. This is theoretically correct, but use of the word main is very terrible name. Okay. මේ කියලා නෑනේ මොකද Java bean එක කියලා නේද? නෑ. Okay. So therefore this is syntactically okay, but semantically this is not a very good thing. But C is better in that sense. Public void set name and this dot name is name. So this C is definitely answer. D 3 3 3 2. Static. Of course, static method cannot use this keyword. 3 3 byte 3 string. Okay, byte string කියලා දෙකක් කියන්න බෑනේ. So that is not answer. 2 1 2 1. Private. No, you can't use instance of there. Okay. So there are two possibilities. B and C. C is the perfect answer, but B is also syntactically correct, though its name is crazy. මම දන්න examiner කොයි විදියට හිතයිද කියලා. Okay. So I'll go for B and C, but possibly examiner take only C. Okay. Right. 17. Right. Examiner has taken only C. But this is perfectly okay as syntactically. Semantically only the issue is. Right? Semantically only the issue is. Okay. Anyway, that's a debatable answer. Consider the following segment of code noting blank 1, blank 2, blank 3. Right. Again, monada hanne. 1, 1, 1. There's nothing called default. 4, 2, 3. Public double set age. Public double, it can't be set age. It must be something like දැන් එයා සිමෙන්ටික් අරන් තියෙනවා. හරි? නැත්නම් මේක වැරද්දක් නැහැ set age කිව්වට. හැබැයි it doesn't make much logical sense. Semantic issue එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ set age කියන එකේ. Right? ඉතින් අර කලින් එකේ සිමෙන්ටික් එක එයා කන්සිඩර් කරලා නෙක් උත්තරයක් ගත්තා. ඒකත් මම ඉතින් දැන් අරගේ උත්තරේ දන්න හන්ද මේකේ උත්තරේදී මේක වැරදි කියලා ගන්නවා. Right? Because it is not set age, it must be get age. Right? 441. 441. Public can't be void because you are returning something. Can't. 323. 323. Protected double set age. No, it can't be set age. Right? Make return කරනවා නම් මේක get age වගේක් වෙන්න ඕන semantically. Semantically බලනවා දැන් මම. So I will not take that. 414. Public int get age. So that is correct. Semantically correct. Syntactically correct. I'll go for E. Yes, C. Which of the following is are valid constructors for employee class? Right, for employee class. Public employee, this is valid because class name, your constructor name must be case sensitive class name. That is perfectly okay. You can't have return type in constructors. You can't have return type in constructors. This is also what okay. This is default accessibility. This is not going to work. So the answer must be definitely A and D. A and D. Right. So we'll take a small break and do the rest of the stuff. Okay. 20 onward we'll do after the break. Right. It's 3:15. We'll start at 3:35. So from next week you will have less classes. Okay. Then ඔයා වැඩේ බාර ගන්න ඕන. Right. ලබන පාර අපිට ඕනනම් class දෙකක් තිබ්බම ඇති. හරි. Maybe okay. So let's continue. Question number 20. Which of the following is a different approaches that Java runtime allows or follows to reach a package created by you? Okay, so this is a typical question. It's a theory question. So this question is very important. Search for the packages in the current working folder. Yes, it will first check whether that package is available in your current working folder or subfolders. Right. So right. It is not asking the sequence, but this is one thing your JVM do. Search for the packages in the current working folder and subfolders. Searching for the packages specified in the interface specifications. Interface specification, that I am not very sure. Searching for the packages according to the settings of the class path environment variable. This is another possible thing you can do. I didn't explain that in the class. Remember we have path variable. Similarly, you can have variable called class path and you can add any folders. So if you have class path variable, JVM will look at those folders also, whether those classes and packages are. So that is correct. Searching for packages setting in the Java documentation. That I'm not very sure what is that. I don't think Java documentation has anything to do with this. Searching at compile time and runtime according to the specification of the yes, that is another option. When you compile and run, you can give additionally the parameter called minus class path and folder names. Then those folders are also checked. Okay. So you can give minus class path and folders, or it can check the class path environment variable and its folder. Okay. And of course, by default, it look for the current folder and its subfolders. I'll go for A, C, and E. A, C, and E. So just keep a note on this particular question because this is a repeating question. Right? Repeating question. So you can refer to something like ChatGPT if you want to see how the practical this is done because right. So you should be able to self-study that. Okay. Uh, A, C, and E. 21. Right. So you can do it by you can ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT will give you example how to do that. Right. 21. Which of the following is the valid interface implemented in Java? Interface 5 implements class 8. I hope these names are used to give you some clues. Okay. So of course, interface does not implement classes. Of course, these names can be anything, but hope this is to give you a clue. Interface can't extend a class. Interface can't implement another interface. Class can implement an interface. Class can implement any number of interfaces. So therefore D and E. D and E. Use the following declarations and initializations to evaluate Java expressions given in question 22 to 25. System out println str2. str2 is Colombo. Plus it will be concatenation because this is a string. This is ch1 plus plus. ch1 is A. Sorry, I think we got this kind of question in one of the previous paper also. So then ch1 plus plus will be the ASCII value will be incremented and again put it back to ASCII. That is why my interpretation. I think that is how it worked in that example past paper question we did. So then I feel like it will be ch1 is anyway A. Then the next ASCII value is B. So I'll go for Colombo B. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is how it works. Okay. Yes, B. Okay. So this is one of the examiner's favorite because we had similar question in I think 2020 two paper. Right? Similar question. Not the exact question, same thing. Right? So your character is converted to integer and incremented and again converted back to char. Okay. Right. So then ch1 plus ch2. ch1 is A, ch2 is C, then AC. Again concatenation, right? Or is it concatenation or number? So that is again tricky thing. Is it concatenation? No, it will take 65, then C must be 67. A, B, C, 65, 66, 67. Is it 65 plus 67 is 12? Is it 132 or AC? I'm not very sure. Both answers are there. Definitely one of these. So this is a very famous question anyway. Still, I can't memorize these things. Of course, usually I don't memorize things. Is it converted to number, definitely it will not convert back to char. I feel like it will be just 132. At 132. Okay, I'll go for B. But other possibility is C. Okay, 23. Yes, B. So this is a repeating question. Okay, so this question you will see, or this similar question you will see almost every year. Something's related to these characters and numbers. Mixing those. Right, 24. STR1 plus STR2, that is the easiest one. It is simply concatenation. University of Colombo without space between STR1 and STR2. So answer must be B. 25. This is STR1 greater than STR2. Is STR1 greater than STR2? I don't think that we can compare strings like that. Then I think you should go for compare to method. I feel like error. I don't think strings can be compared like that. Of course, char you can compare, not string. Okay, it should be error. Let's do it and see. S out, say AA is greater than AB. You can see it's error. So if you want to compare these things, you have a method called compare to. Right? Compare to. Then you give the other one. Then you give the other one. So that is how you compare strings. It will give -1, +1, no 0. Same means plus 0. For example, A and A, I should get 0. Okay. But if it is, this is AB, now it will be +1. Earlier -1. Okay. So when this is bigger than this, of course, the ASCII values are used. It is +1. When they are the same, 0. When the second one is bigger, comparing with ASCII, if the first character is the same, then it compares the second character. So always this method will give you 0, 1, no, -1. So don't use greater than, less than signs. Of course, greater than, less than sign, you can use it for char. Like A is A less than B. Obviously, A is less than B in ASCII table. So therefore, this should give true. So these are very famous questions. Exam note කරගෙන යන්න ඕන. Exam එකේ favorite questions. Okay. String එහෙම compare කරන්න බෑ, char පුළුවන්. Numbers obviously you can. Consider the following Java expression. It will cause an exception to be occurred. Yes, because this string is not a valid integer. So you try to convert it to an integer. So this string is not a valid integer. But if this string contains something like 125, no issue. This will be 125, but this is not a valid integer. Right? So it will be number format exception. මේ exception එක හොඳට මතක තියාගෙන යන්න. Number format exception. Because it's not a valid number format. I'll go for B. The question එක repeat කරන question එකක් හරි. Repeat කරන question එකක් හරි. Repeat කරන questions තියෙනවා හරි. Examiners like favorite question set එක. ඔය මං කියන්නේ ඔයා තමයි. මේකේ අවුරුදු 5ක් විතර තා පිටිපස්සට පාස් පේපර් කරොත් එimhe ආය අනිවාර්යෙන් A+ එකක් තමයි අරන් ඉන්නේ. වැඩි තේරුම් අරන් තියනවා නම් හැබැයි වැඩි තේරුම් අරගත්ත පළියට A+ එකක් ගන්න බෑ. මොකද මේ වගේ වගේ වෛර වෙනව නැත්තම් ඔයාලට හරියටම දන්නේ නැහැ නේ එක්සෙප්ෂන් එක මොකද කියලා. ඕවා අනිවාර්යෙන් පාස් පේපර්ස් වලට තව දෙකක් යනකොට තව පාරක් ඔය ක්වෙස්චන් එකම තියෙනවා. 27. Which of the following is the valid options which can be categorized under runtime exception? So runtime exceptions are not check exceptions, right? But those things happens like array index out of bound exception, file not found exception, divide by zero, that the arithmetic exception, number format exception. So runtime exceptions. Right? Arithmetic exception, runtime exception. Number format exception, runtime exception. Assertion error, not very sure. SQL exception should be, මොකද SQL run වෙද්දි තමයි අහුවෙන්නේ ගොඩක් අය. IO exception, I think IO exception is also runtime. මේක නම් මතක නැහැ. But I'll go for A, B, and D. I think E is also runtime exception. But I'm not very sure. I'll go for A, B, and D. A, B විතරයි D අරගෙනත් නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ SQL exception එකත් check exception එකක් වෙනවා. හරි. ඔයාලට exam එකට යන්න කලින් මෙන්න මෙහෙම කරන්න. chat GPT මගේ අපේ note එකේ තියුණා මං හිතන්නේ. chat GPT ගන්න what are the top 10 runtime exceptions in Java කියන මතක තියාගෙන යන්න. What are most popular runtime exceptions in Java? ඔන්න ඔය 10 මතක තියාගෙන යන්න. 10ක් හරි 5ක් හරි. ඔක paper එකේ නිතර අහන ඔය question හරි. Right. One is null point exception. Right. Array index out of bound exception. ඒක දැන් ප්‍රසිද්ධ වෙක්කන. Arithmetic exception. Class cast exception. Illegal argument exception. Illegal state exception. Index out of bound එක මම හිතන කාලෙත් තියෙනවා. Number format exception. Unsupported operation exception. Concurrent modification exception. ඔය අන්තිම දෙක නම් ඕනේ නැහැ 9 10. ඔය 8ට වෙනකන් ටික අනිවාර්යෙන් note down කරගන්න. දැන් note down. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ exam එක last එකට ඔයාලා තියෙන පොඩි note exam එක target කරපු පොඩි short note එකක්. එහෙම නේද? විභාගයට යනවා කියන්නේ. ඔය විභාගයෙන් ඕනකට බය වෙන්න නැත්නම් බය නැත්නම් විභාගෙම කරුමයක් වෙනවා හරි. විභාගේ challenge එකක් හරි. විභාගෙට බය වෙන්නේ නැහැ ඔයා. බෑ විභාගේ challenge කරන්න ඔයා. You must be in offensive mood set, not defensive. බය දුන්නිවට හැංගෙන නේද? අර පිනා වගේ බෑ. එක්සෑම් එකට යනකොට ඔයා යනකොට චණ්ඩියෙක් වගේ. හැබැයි ගෙදර වැඩ ටික කරලා යන්න ඕන. හෝම්වර්ක් කරලා යන්න ඕන. Next question. So they are only arithmetic and number format, right? The way of SQL exception, IO exception, check exception. 28. Which of the following is are valid wrapper classes? අපෝ හරි ලේසි නේ. Wrapper classes ඔක්කොම තියෙන primitive type එකේ නම තමයි capital වෙනවා. Exception දෙකක් තියෙනවා මොනවාද? int become integer, char become character. Right, character, this is the primitive type, boolean, this other one. Right, exception situation දෙකක් අහලා තියෙනවා. දැන් char become character, int become integer. ඒ දෙකෙම තමයි exam එක අහලා තියෙන්නේ. මේක හරි boolean, b capital. So the answer is A, C, D. 29. It's a generic question. We did generic last about 2 weeks. 2 gen, these are your types. Then again, you must give the same types. Okay, so maybe these are your parameters. Okay, මෙතන දෙන type මෙතන දෙන්න ඕනේ හැබැයි. Yeah. If blank one, and other thing is it must be wrapper classes, not primitive types. Primitive type දෙන්න බෑ. Wrapper type නැත්නම් class වෙන්න ඕනේ. String නැත්නම් ඔයාගේ class එකක්. So int is not allowed. Float is not allowed. මට මතක නැහැ int වගේ දුන්නම convert කරගන්නවා කියලා මට මතක විදියට නම් එහෙම බෑ. Right, integer string, that is fine. මේකත් බලන්න integer string මේකත් බලන්න ඕන දුන්න values. Okay. Because this look like a constructor. String boolean int එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ. String boolean int වෙන්න බෑ. So I'll go for C. Okay. So these must be classes. Okay, and this same value blank 1 and blank 3 must be the same, blank 2 and blank 4 must be the same. 30. Which of the following is are valid collection interfaces in Java? Collection interfaces මොනවද කියලා අහන්නේ. List is an interface. මතකයි නේද? Scanner is not a collection, it's an input output. Set is an interface. Set, list, map interfaces. Sorted set, I don't think it's an interface. I think it's a class. I mean, sorted set කියලා ඇත්තෙත් නෑ මං හිතන්නේ. Being a tree set. Queue, is it an interface or class? I can't remember. I think queue is an interface. මට ඒක නම් මතක නෑ. I will go for queue also. Because it looks like there are two wrong answers already. They can't ගියොත් යන්නේ පොඩි ගානයි. I'll go for A, C, and D. A, C, D. B තරම් තියෙනවා. Can sorted set is also interface. බලන්න මොනවද කියලා interface ටික තියෙන. Java collection එකේ වගේ note එකෙත් ඇති. Java collection framework. Video එකක්. These are red ones are interfaces. Now you can see sorted set, iterable, collection, list, queue, set, DQ, sorted set. Here you have map and sorted map. Those are interfaces. These are classes. Blue guys are classes. අපි මේ සමහර පාවිච්චි කරලා array list. We discussed what is the difference between array list and linked list and vector. Right? Difference between tree set. Tree set is sorted. You can see it's sorted set. Tree කියලා තිබුණත් එහෙම sorted. Tree map sorted. Right? Hash map, hash කියලා තිබුණත් unsort, not ordered. Hash map, hash set. Which of the following is a valid abstract classes which comes under character input output operations in Java? ඒගොල්ලෝ I think කටපාඩම් කරන් කියලා පූජාවගේ උත්තර දෙන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හරි. මට නම් ඕවා කටපාඩම් නැත. කොයි ඒවා abstract කොයි ඒවා abstract නැද්ද? හරි මම ඕවා කටපාඩම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. රජ්ජුරුවන්ගේ නම් ටික කටපාඩම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ජාතික පුෂ්පේ කටපාඩම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. මගේ ජීවිතේ හරි. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් නම් කටපාඩම් කරගන්න. මොනවද මේ abstract classes කියන්නේ? මට නම් මතක නැහැ. හරි? කොහෙද මතක නැහැ. What are the answers? A and E. Read a class, write a class. ඒව තමයි abstract. 32. Applet. Applet I did not do because applets are no longer used. Right? Applet කියන concept එක තනිකර මිනිස්සු අතෑරලා දාලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ examiners තමයි තාම මේවා අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නේ. හරි? But anyway, applets, what does applet do? Applet is a Java class used in good old days, not modern era, 1990s, 1980s, where Java program can be run in your browser. A Java program with some restrictions can be run in your browser. So now applets are no longer supported because of security and other concerns. All the browsers have discontinued support for applets. So therefore, applets is a dead concept. Okay, so the examiners still ask question on that dead concept. So first you write the applet code, it's a Java file, then you compile it and get the class file, then you keep the class file in some folder or the same folder as your HTML or whatever the PHP code. Then you can include it using this tag, applet tag. Code that is your class name and possibly path also if it is not in the same folder. That is the location and file name of the class file that you want to run in the browser. Then width and height is your applet will run on a frame part of your browser. This width and this height. and this location, because you have other port also H1 and so on. මෙතන තමයි applet එක run වෙන්නේ මේ size එක frame එකක් වල. So therefore now you should have the answer. So then if your class is animation.java, this should be animation.class, right? Animation.class, not Java. Right? So these are two possibilities. Then the width and height is there. Have they mentioned about width and height? No. So then maybe 500 is a possibility. 300 is a possibility, because those are very numbers. I'll go for B and E. B and E. B and E. So මේ දැන් run කරන්න බෑ. මේ තනිකර outdated concepts. Applet කියන concept එක තනිකරම discontinue කරලා දින සියලු. All the browsers have discontinued support for this. It happened about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. Okay. I don't know why examiners are still asking about that. Which of the following is a valid mouse listener interface allowed in Java? Okay. So remember we discussed about action listener. This is string event handling. Now these listeners can put අවබෝධයෙන් ඉන්නවා. So what we discuss is action listener. When you click on a button, click on a radio button, I told you there are some other listeners like item listeners, mouse listeners, and so on. So mouse listener has more than one method, because with mouse you can do so many things, right? Normal click, right click, right? Mouse press කරපු වෙලාව, mouse release කරපු වෙලාව ඔක්කොම අල්ලන්න පුළුවන්. right? So ඉතින් ඒක ටික පොඩ්ඩක් ඔළුවේ තියෙනවනේ මොනවාද මෙතඩ් කියලා මට නම් මතක නැහැ ඇත්තටම. මම ඔය එක එක මතක තියාගෙන ඉන්න කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි. මොකද මම නිතරම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකත් එක්ක ඉන්නේ. ඒකන්ද මට ඔන්ලයින් අපට ටක් ගාලා සර්ච් කරන්න පුළුවන්. සර්ච් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒවා මම දන්නේ එක්සෑම් එකේ අහන්නේ නේ. තප්පරෙන් සර්ච් කරලා හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් ඇයි අහන්නේ කියලා නේද? chat GPT එකෙන් අහුවත් ටක් ගාලා කියලා mouse interface එකේ තියෙන මේවා කියලා. What are the methods in? මට නම් ඇත්තට මතක නෑ හරි. Methods in mouse Java mouse listener interface. Mouse click, mouse press, mouse release, mouse entered, mouse exited. ඔන්න ඔය පහළ තියෙන. එහෙනම් ඒ පහ කරන උත්තරේ. හරි ඒ පහ තියෙනවා ගන්න නිතර වයින් කරන්න. හරි ඒක ඔබ තනියෙන් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right, so this is related to thread programming. අපි තාම කරේ නැහැ. අපි කරලා නැති තාම thread programming, JDBC, JavaFX. ඔන්න thread programming වලින් question එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි තාම කරගෙන නැති හන්ද ඒක skip කරනවා. හරි. This JavaFX question එක. JavaFX තාම කරේ නැහැනේ. JavaFX වලින් මොන question එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි. ඔන්න තියෙනවා අනිත් එකෙන් අපි කරපු නැති topic තුනක් තියෙනවා කියලා. JDBC වලින් question එකක් තියෙනවා. JavaFX වලින් question එකක් තියෙනවා. This is from thread. So those are 3 topics we have not done yet. අපි ඒ තුන තමයි ඊළඟට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒ තුنين ඉතින් ඔය කොහොම කලාතුරකින් තමයි තුනෙන්ම question තුනක් ආවේ. ගොඩක් අයට ඔය තුනෙන්ම වෙන එක question එකයි. හරි. ඔය question sub topic තුනෙන්ම එකයි ගොඩක් අයට දෙන්නේ. JDBC, multi-threading, JavaFX. ඔන්න topic තුනේ question එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ. ඒ අවුරුද්දේ. right අපි ඒක කරන්න බෑ තාම. But these are very basic questions. මේ දෙන්න පුළුවන් පොඩිම question එක තමයි අහලා තියෙන්නේ. right next මෙන්න මේක නම් මම කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඕගොල්ලෝ තනියෙන් කරගන්න. මේක කරොත් මට පිස්සන් කොටේ නවතිනවා. හරි? මේක තනියෙන් කරගන්න. මේ පැදුර දිගෑල්ල බලන්න මේ කියන කතන්දරයට අදාළ කෝඩ් එකක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. හරි? මම ඇත්තටම විභාගයට ගියොත් මේ පේපර් එක මේ question ටිකක් දැක්කොත් මම එකකටවත් උත්තර ගන්න නැතුව ඉදර එනවා. A+ එක තියාගන්න කියලා. මට B එක B+ එකක් ඇති කියලා. හරි. දැන් වඩ කරන් තියෙන්නේ මේ කතන්දරේ වෙන්න. හරි? මේ කතන්දරේ වෙන්න. Write a Java program to initialize an array with the following numbers and print the given numbers in reverse order on the console. දැන් ඔයා බලන්න මේ විදිහට දුන්නා මේක වෙනවද? දැන් මේ ලයින් ටික ඔක්කොම ලියා ගන්න කොලයක් කරා. ඇයිද නැත්තම් මේක කරන්න බෑනේ. line 1 line 3 line 7 line 6 line 5 දැන් line 1 වල තියෙනවා මොකද්ද කතන්දරය? line 3 වල තියෙනවා මේක. දැන් ඕක ලියන්න ඕන ඔයා. ලියලා බලන්න ඕන ඔය කියන එහෙම ලිව්ව කෝඩ් එකෙන් මේ වැඩේ වෙනවද කියලා. ඒත් ඒ වගේ වාක් ලිය ගන්නකොට කීපාරක්ද? පස් පාරක් ලියන්න ඕන. පස් පාරක් ලියන්න ඕන. මේවා ඉතින් ලයින් ලියන්න ඕන. හරි මේ ලයින් එක ලියන්න මේ ලයින් එක මේ ලයින් එක ලියලා බලන්න ඒ ලියන කෝඩ් එකෙන් මේ කියන වැඩේ වෙනවද? වෙනවනම් ඕක. ඔබල කරන්න ටිකන් ඉල්ලාට ආතල් එකේ එක්සැමිනර් එකේ දෙමව්පියන් සී කරගෙන ලියන්න. හරි. මේ කියන්නේ මේ වැඩේ වෙනවද මේ කියන කෝඩ් වලින් කොයි එකේ? හරි. පහුගිය අවුරුද්ද දෙකේ නම් ඔය වගේ කෝඩ් දීලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඊට කලින් ඔක හැම අවුරුද්දෙම ඔය කෝඩ් එකක් දෙනවා. හරි. හරියට නිකන් නවකවාදයේ දෙනවා. නිකන් ඊළාට ඔක ලියලා බලන්න ඉතින්. මේ ලයින් නම්බර්ස් ටික ලියලා ඊට පස්සේ බලන්න මේ කියන වැඩේ වෙනවද? එච්චරයි. ඕකේ. right that's it. ඒ question හතර ඔයා කරන්න. ඒ question හතර මම කරොත් මට මම පිස්සෙක් වෙනවා. හරි. right. That's it. Right. So now we have done other than just every paper we skip 1 or 2 questions, this paper 3 questions. Okay. So now we have done 23, 22, 21. I can't say all green because every paper we have skipped some questions. Just 1 or 2 questions only, right? Right. So in the next class, your next class is Saturday morning. We will do first papers. ඒක තමයි මලම් වදේ. charter paper එක. හැබැයි ඒක පුළුවන් තරම් question කරලා පුළුවන් තරම් විවර කරන්න බලමු. So then maybe Sunday morning we will do maybe JDBC and maybe yeah we can do multi-threading and JDBC both. මේ දෙකම කරලා ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊළඟ Sunday possibly we can take the morning session. Okay. Right. We stop at this. Another thing is if you have any other question, say paper subject, year and the question number, so we can discuss those things because we have time. Then what exam එක තව මාසයකට පොඩ්ඩක් අඩුවෙන් තියෙනවා. හරි almost 1 month නේද? මාසයක් වගේ තියෙනවා. I think ඉතුරු ටික හොඳට organize කරලා වැඩේ කරගන්න. හරි. right. මගේ පැත්තෙන් වැඩේ දැන් ඉවරයි සෑහෙන්න. තව class දෙකක් නැත්නම් තුනක්. ඒ කියන්නේ ලබන සතියේ වැඩේ ඉවරටම ඉවරයි බොහෝ දුරට. හරි. right. We stop at this point.